Hi class, how's it going? My name is Christian. Hope you're all doing well. We did it. This is the last week. It's wrapping up. I hope you guys are getting ready for Christmas and the holidays and just being around family and friends, all your loved ones. I just want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas and a amazing New Year filled with lots of love and peace and just within our hearts and our souls, and just that God puts a calling on our lives and directs our paths and which way we're going to go. And just tonight I want to talk a little bit about our critical assignment, and specifically the study that I did was proprioceptive resistance training. So basically, obviously with the words you can kind of tell, it's going to involve a lot of with proprioception training along with resistance training, and we're going to talk a little bit about the background of why I decided to do a study based off this topic, and how that obviously some of the discussion, the results of the methods that we used, and how that all the outcome of all the data and how that turned out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about the background of why I decided to go down this route, and just kind of having a personal background in neurology myself, and kind of in the field that I'm in right now, and just working a lot with physical therapists, chiropractors, but kind of more dealing along the lines of more serious conditions like neurological and autoimmune conditions, which has been awesome. And I've been learning a lot, and just kind of how the neuromuscular system, vestibular system, nervous system all kind of work together, and performing coordination, performing movement and muscle contractions and all that, and just dealing with proprioception. Obviously, we're talking about sensory receptors that are located more in the muscle tissue, tendons, ligaments. It can be in the joint capsules, and obviously that's going to help. Proprioception is going to help with our spatial awareness, right? It's good, kind of, for example, the amount of strength you would need to pick up a pencil. You don't really need to think about it, right? You know how much, I guess, strength you need to pick up the pencil. That's your proprioceptors working. If you were to close your eyes, you say you're in your car and you close your eyes, you know exactly how far away your rear view mirror is. Like, obviously if you, know where your, cup holders are, exactly how kind of far away. You can kind of gauge it in your mind, how far away it is when you kind of take away your vision. So that's what we're kind of going to be talking about with proprioception, and just dealing with all that in the training and combining that with the resistance training, as you can see there. And ultimately what that hopefully proves to turn out to be is, just an increase in motor recruitment, activating more muscle fibers, and just kind of hopefully through eliminating vision and blindfolding some participants during some of the exercises we're going to talk about, hopefully will add an increase in muscle strength. And the purpose of the study is just because I believe there's a lot of new information, new data, new studies coming out with all about proprioceptive training, but I still believe it is very overlooked in athletic performance. In professional sports, it's definitely out there, but as far as more collegiate, high school level, even younger ages aren't really training in that, or coaches and health practitioners aren't really focused on even working with younger or lower level athletics in terms of neuromuscular training and proprioceptive training here. So that's what that's going to hopefully provide is actually as more healthcare practitioners understand and coaches understand kind of the importance of it, and how they can kind of incorporate that and supplement that into their normal training, progressive resistance training programs. That's going to be awesome, and that's just going to add increased athletic performance. It's also going to help with injury prevention, which is kind of the main reason for proprioception. It's going to kind of help with injury prevention. This is going to help open doors for more future research. So as far as the problem statement, I kind of, was talking a little bit about it, but basically, will resistance training, with eyes closed ultimately accumulate a greater increase in muscle strength than with eyes open, without the benefit of vision? And, the null hypothesis here would be that there would be no difference or increase, as you can see, in muscle strength when performing resistance training with eyes closed versus them open. My hypothesis, or the alternative hypothesis that I selected here, would be resistance training with eyes closed will actually heed a greater increase to muscle strength in terms of pounds versus with eyes open. And just this case, just because, in terms of the physiological responses that happen when you kind of increase your proprioception through cutting off your vision and actually incorporate that with training, kind of leads me to believe that there will be an increase of strength, in terms of 1 rep max or in the different exercises that we're going to talk about next here. So some of the methods, just a little overview of all the intervention. I just kind of kept it as simple as I could. I don't want to really overcomplicate it, and just keep it, 20 subjects, 10 men, 10 women, ages 18 and 22, all located around the CBU area. So I kind of said the fitness center there at CBU. So pretty much people, local people in the Inland Empire area, with at least less than 3 years of training experience or weightlifting experience, just because we want to keep it more of a novice lifters, just to see kind of, more, potentially seeing more of an increase or a change, in their data, just because they are, new versus someone that's been training for 5, 7, 10 years, and you won't really see much of a difference because, their bodies have been so accumulated to, just working out consistently. So, some of the instrumentation, having a health background questionnaire, I think was huge. Checking to see if some of the participants smoke, drink, kind of where their diet's at, if they've taken any, supplements within the last 6 months, as far as like HGH, growth hormone, anabolic steroids, creatine, different things that maybe could affect some of the, data. And, they would kind of take, kind of select them through that questionnaire and kind of, filter them out, the ones that we would kind of be best for this study. Obviously no outside strength training. That's going to be a big variable that could affect the outcome of the data. The experimental and control group would be split into 10 and 10, 5 men, 5 women, just trying to keep it pretty balanced, pretty even. I'm trying to take away any outliers. And the procedure is going to be simple. The dependent variable is going to be muscle strength. The independent variables we're dealing with is going to be the resistance training, more specifically the period. That's a tough word for me to say, but periodization model. And the resistance load is going to be another independent variable as far as the pounds. And what we would do is we would record a pre and post data with a 1 rep max. And to get to the 1 rep max, we would have each participant, be able to do a 3 rep max of whatever weight that they've selected. And if they were able to do 3 reps, then we move up the weight 5 pounds. If they could do 3 reps, we move up the weight 5 pounds. You could do that with the 3 reps or 5 rep max. But just ultimately, once they're not able to complete it, that would be their rep max pre-data. And then we would test it after the 6 weeks of the training program, 6 weeks of the study that we would do. And we would do this 3 times a week. And the exercise that we would do would be a bicep curl, shoulder press, bench press, leg press, and a squat. And the bench press is going to be the exercise that we're going to be doing the blindfolding, just for the experimental group, just for the bench press, just to kind of keep it very small window and just keep it simple instead of, obviously future research we can incorporate, all those exercises as blindfolded, just completely experimental group, completely blinded, eliminating vision versus the control group with vision. So, and then the statistical testing here that we're going to do, obviously it's a quantitative study. Again, we're talking about the pre-testing, post-testing data that we're going to collect for muscle strength. And you can obviously, there's different platforms that you can use, Excel, Nova, SPSS. But ultimately, it's going to be a one-tailed hypothesis testing with a Z-test that we're going to do. And according to our book, the significance level for the study is going to be, the P is going to be less than 0.05 that we're looking for. So basically, after kind of all the results and the overview of the data, we found out that it became statistically insignificant, the testing, but there was an increase numerically in terms of the experimental group that had, without the benefit of vision, they actually saw an increase overall on average in terms of their overall 1 rep max from pre to post, data. And the men actually had, without vision, had an increase more of 2 pounds. Women had an increase of 3 pounds more that without the use of vision. So there was mathematically some little margins of difference, but not as much to render it significant. And so what this future research is going to provide is going to open again those new doors for incorporating proprioceptive training to aid in muscular strengthening as well as injury prevention. I'm just going to go along with neuromuscular training. I think that's like the new way and the new wave of, as far as like being a healthcare provider, a practitioner, a coach, anything in the field. I think the best thing is to start with a neuro approach to a lot of things, because that mental side of sports performance, I feel like, is barely getting tapped into, and that's what everybody's kind of starting to realize now, the potential of just the mental side of sports. So basically, again, he's going to just wrap up with neurological sports performance, and that's really what's going to ultimately provide that extra boost, as far as, because everyone's training, physically and strengthening and doing that, but no one's actually training their mind, right? In terms of maximizing their bodies, which is pretty cool. And some of the conclusions, again, even though there weren't significant, the numerical differences can, prompt for further research. And obviously, in terms of sports, even the smallest little increments or margins can make the biggest difference from winning and losing. So it's still, I recommend it, for anybody that's willing to kind of look and learn more about the topic. I definitely recommend doing it, because it's definitely the future. So thank you so much. I got my references here, and like I said, hope you guys have an amazing holiday season, and can't wait to see you guys out there. Freedom.